guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to Robertson's Valley Acres.
Welcome.
Today we're going to try to find a solution for Mayday. We haven't found him a home yet, so we're going to see if we can build him a little pen in the backyard to keep him contained until we can either find him a good home, or maybe this will be a solution.
Hopefully a solution.
Hopefully. Like, seriously, dude? Why do you put us through so much? Are you sad because you're tied up? I'm sad because you're tied up. All of this for you. Because you're my boy. And you want to eat all of my chickens. What do you think of that, man? Mayday? What do you think of that? Just like everything, you guys, if I envision it and then tell Rusty about it, he just makes it happen. It's really kind of the coolest thing. It's like having your own personal genie. I have to do something with that and make that a little bit easier, but check this out.
A little bigger chain.
Yeah. And it'll catch right there. It's sweet. I love it. That little guy right there, he's not so little. He's a big guy. He's my baby. That is Mayday. And if you guys watched, I'll put a link in here, but if you guys watched any of my earlier videos, you saw that I was having issues with Mayday. First he killed ducks, and then he started killing chickens, and he had a radius collar, but it quit on us. And so sadly, Mayday ended up being tied up in the backyard. He was tied to that post in the backyard. I have a huge issue with dogs being tied up. I don't like dogs to be tied up. I feel like it makes them more aggressive. If they're already expressing aggressive tendencies, I feel like they are isolated. They are not part of the family then. You guys, Mayday is spoiled rotten. He is my baby after I lost my Mandy. Mandy was my shadow. I had her for 14 years, and she was my shadow. So if you take that hurt and that loss, and then you understand that the next one gets a little bit spoiled, because you realize all the things, the regrets. You know, Mandy was spoiled rotten, but there's so many things that I wish I would have done better with Mandy, because she did mean so much to me. So Mayday's spoiled rotten, and he gets away with a lot more things than any of our other big dogs ever did. He's our only dog right now. here on the farm. And he sleeps in my room. He comes in usually during the day if I'm home. If we're gone, that's when he had to be tied up or kenneled. And so then you're choosing the lesser of the two evils. Is it better to keep him locked up in a kennel all day until you can get home? Or let him have some fresh air and tie him up outside, but then he's tied up? I mean, I put toys out there, you know, I made it the best I could, and Russ and I discussed finding a home for Mayday. And it breaks my heart to even think about it. So I said, what is the difference between Mayday going to live in town with somebody and having to be in a fence, or living here on the farm with us and we could build him a fence? And Rusty said, you're absolutely right, let's build him a fence. So what started out to be just a little pen for Mayday turned into something so much more than I ever expected. So I'm giving you kind of an aerial view here. Here's where we had decided to put his little fence. Okay, it's just a little run. It's right outside that bedroom door, so that we can just let him in right here, and he can go, especially in the middle of the night if he wakes me up. You know, all I have to do is walk right out to that little gate and bring him out. So what started out was this little fence. Well, we live on a very uneven terrain, so just like that greenhouse that we had to build up so much to get the greenhouse to be level, it's the same thing, only here it runs downhill. So there's a little retaining wall right there, and there are little steps right there. Okay, so we put up this little fence along here, and this fence is the other half of the panels we used for the greenhouse. So you can imagine it's way short, it's a little less than 4 foot tall. Now Mayday, he's a pretty big guy, so if he wants to, he can jump over that fence. So we had to figure out a way to make our fence go all the way across, rather than that coming down, you know, we're going to have to bend the wire and bring it down. On the other side of that little deck right there, there is sandstone steps. When we closed this off across here, that rerouted my parents. My parents are in their 70s. They used to walk along here to get back to their van and a way for them to get to their stuff. Okay, so we had to reroute them. So that brings us to the patio. So we bring into the patio, and then we put a little door right there. But the problem was the steps that went up were very treacherous for anybody really, but I've got, you know, my parents are, like I said, in their 70s, so a fall for someone in their 70s is a lot different than a fall for someone in their 20s or 30s or 40s. I mean, it could be pretty treacherous. So right there where that little door is, there was a flower bed that came all the way across. So we shortened up the flower bed. We put pavers in there to make a safe walking pad. And then my dad had this idea, and he said, why don't I just build a bridge? I'll start it here and we'll run it level, and it'll have steps to come down. And then that way you can run your fence right onto that, and that makes steps for someone to be able to go up and not worry about falling on those sandstone steps. Sounded like an amazing, awesome idea for me. We did put this door up because if Mayday wants to, he can jump over this little fence. We kept this little fence here because it separates Mayday from the entertainment areas. There's a patio there, and then this deck that I'm standing on, there's a patio underneath it as well. So if Mayday were to jump over he can't get out of the backyard because of that gate on that side. Which brings us to the other side of the backyard. Well, we put a fence across the back. Sorry, trying to go down these steps. So we put a fence here. It's got a big gate so that we can get the mowers in. So we can utilize this. If Mayday gets out of that fence back there, he's still in the backyard. So he is still contained. Let's take a closer look. We are all about, sorry for the mess back here, we're cleaning out the garden. We are all about repurposing and reusing. One example is this is a bed rail. It was not quite long enough, so we took some little pieces of fence we had, some of those, to be able to make it longer, and we used it as a gate. So you come this way, and here is Mayday's run. He absolutely loves his run. He never gets out of his pen, even though he can jump over. And I know he can because the neighbor's dogs came over one day and he sailed right over it. Well, let's take a closer look. So now Rusty and I have a nice little area that we can have our coffee, eat breakfast, and Mayday has his spot, and he can be with us or he can be in his little run. And when we have to leave to go to work, he is safe in his little run. So here's how this little door opens. Right now it's all flooded, guys, because I tried to wash the patio, and obviously we have some drainage issues, so we're going to take care of that. These cinder blocks were what bordered the flower bed right out there, and of course we took those out, so I'm just going to make them flower boxes right in here. I got another little flower box here. And then, of course, I had to have a water feature. So we had this little water fountain that I had bought at a garage sale, and this big planter that Amos had bought me for my birthday. And so I filled it with sandstone, and I put some water in it, and now I have a cute little water feature out here. Remember the bed rail over there on the other side that we're using for a gate? That is what we're using for a door right here. It fit perfect. I told Rusty what I wanted. He makes it happen. That's how he is for me. It has little handles already on it because it was a bed rail. And see, I've let Mayday out of his run, but he's still in the backyard. Now here is the awesome deck that Dad and Rusty built. So then that way they have a safe way. And they left my sandstone steps, which I love those sandstone steps, and I was really sad to see them go. I just think that they just bring a lot of character to this area back here. And this was a solution for both. Now, they're going to put a rail in here, but my dad had to leave on emergency, and Rusty has been hooked up working, so that's just going to have to wait. But it is a safe alternative and a nice little deck that I am not worried about my parents or Rusty's parents getting up here to get across the yard. So that leaves us to this area back here. Like I said, we shortened up that flower bed, so I will plant flowers there. I didn't put another cinder block there. I know that's going to drive some people crazy, but we have a French drain that runs from right there, and I couldn't dig deep enough to get another cinder block there. But in those little holes, I'll plant some more flowers like I have in years past. We had this patio that we built with pavers. There used to be pavers like that all the way down. We talked about replacing them, but I think instead I'm just going to plant some grass all through there. I don't even want mulch. I just want some pretty grass just to grow right through there. It's wide enough for a push mower. And then that way, if I'm out here working in the flower beds, I can walk around barefoot like I normally do in the summer. Are you ready for breakfast? You are? You're ready for breakfast? Do you like your new pin? No more tied up? No more? Yay! You ready for breakfast? Come on. Let's go have breakfast. Yay, breakfast! Yay, breakfast is so fun! Breakfast is great! Yay! You wait. Good boy. Wait. Good boy. Wait. There. That's a good boy. You're such a good boy. Yep. You're such a good boy. Yep. Okay, I'm going in. Gotta go to work. Be good.